All right, folks, sorry to keep you waiting there. If you're wondering why I'm not even dressed tonight and we started so late, it is not my irresponsibility for once, okay? I know it usually is. Tonight it is not. We've been having rampant internet problems all weekend, and as you know, I actually had to cancel Friday night stream because of it, and it was mostly good for the whole weekend, and then like an hour before the stream, it flared up again. And no thanks to my internet company who claims that everything is fine and they're like, we don't see anything wrong with your internet. I think I fixed it. Okay, so I think we should be good to go tonight. However, I will say that if we do have any problems tonight, if it buffers out, if it tells you that the stream is over when it cuts me off in the middle and YouTube ends the stream, just refresh. That's usually what happens. We always have the same problem. I paid $200, folks. I paid $200 a month. I have Ethernet and everything for this internet, only for it to not work at least once a month. It's very frustrating at this point. Not much I can do. They have a monopoly in this area, so I can't even get a different provider. Thank you. It's Joe Biden's fault, okay? We're all blaming Brandon tonight. But with that said, while we still have you on fresh working connection, tonight on the VinceDao Show, we got to preview the GOP debate. I'm going to give you all of my thoughts on Trump skipping the debate to hang out with Tucker Carlson. Will DeSantis dominate the debate, or will it be a Vivek night? A very interesting open question on that front. Also, Ron DeSantis refers to Trump supporters as quote-unquote listless vessels. Is that a gaffe on his point? We'll give you our thoughts. Also, some cultural news as a chess tournament has banned, the trans woman, quote unquote, from the competition. So men are not able to compete in the women's chess tournaments. We'll give you our thoughts and maybe be tuning into this Christie, Adam Kinzinger town hall if it's still going on. Not sure. But that's all tonight on the VinceDao Show. Stay tuned, folks. And we are live tonight from the great state of Florida. I am your casually dressed host, VinceDao, although the hoodie does fit, okay? Can we be real? I get it. I'm not wearing the suit tonight, but it says Science Denier. Okay, it's a wonderful hoodie. Okay, anyways, I am your host, VinceDao. It is August 21st, the year of our Lord 2023. Welcome, everyone, to the VinceDao Show. And tonight, we got a lot to talk about regarding this upcoming GOP debate. But really quickly, I do want to announce for everyone that this is going to be our last stream until at least Thursday, maybe Friday. Because as I announced on last week's stream, I actually have been invited by the GOP to attend the GOP debate. So we will be there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm leaving tomorrow night. We'll do our best. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to be allowed to film and not and all that stuff. We are going to be doing our best this weekend, this upcoming week, I should say, to get a lot of content for you guys. So let me know what should I interview. I'm planning on interviewing people at the very least outside of the debate. We'll see if Secret Service lets us do it in the debate because I still haven't really gotten a clear answer on that. But what questions should I ask people on the street at the GOP debate? Let me know. Comment in the live chat or the comment section right now. And of course, if you do want to support and sponsor, help fund our trip to the GOP debate starting tomorrow, feel free to do so via the super chats, which I will be reading periodically throughout the night. Of course, your super chats are the best way to support the show, to keep the lights on, and get us to Milwaukee, Wisconsin on Wednesday. So any support, folks, tonight is greatly appreciated. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I know we did start late tonight, so I don't want to beat around the bush any further or, take the time and let Cox Internet, which is a very unfortunately named internet company, screw with us any further. So with that said, folks, let's get into the news tonight. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about previewing the GOP debate coming on this Wednesday. So I'm gonna give you kind of my opinions on this stuff from a lot of different angles. But I think in regards to Wednesday's debate in Milwaukee, the most important headline that everyone is talking about is, of course, the fact that the front runner of this race, right, Donald Trump, will not be attending the debate, which frankly shouldn't be all that surprising to anyone. But we got the announcement on Friday, I believe, that Donald Trump will not be at the GOP debate and will instead be skipping it for an interview with Tucker Carlson. Okay, so obviously this is a bit of a controversial decision, I will say. And I will say selfishly, obviously, I, not just as a Trump supporter, but just as a conservative in general who just wants to see it, right? I would like for Donald Trump to debate. Obviously, I think we all would. There's not a single person on this planet who doesn't want to see Trump debate. But I'll point out at the same time, kind of to give my thoughts on it, is that at the same time, I don't really think Donald Trump has much of a reason to debate, right? I'm not saying principally he shouldn't debate, because I think he should, but when you're up in the polls 30 or something points, really, I think the way he sees it and the way I see it is he doesn't have, what does he have to gain from debating? Are his poll numbers going to go up? Very likely not, because all of the hardcore Trump supporters do plan to vote Trump, and the people who don't like Trump would probably just call him a bully or all the different names if he debates anyway. But I think on the flip side, right, Donald Trump has everything to lose by debating. Not that I think he will. I know everyone is saying he's scared of DeSantis. I don't really think he's scared of DeSantis, okay? When you look at DeSantis on the campaign trail, and you're kind of reminded of the fact he's not exactly the best charismatic kind of figure out there, I don't think it's a matter of Donald Trump being scared of DeSantis. I think Donald Trump could very easily handle DeSantis in a debate, and all of those characters, Christie, whoever it is. But when you really think about it, right, him not being at the debate, that actually, first of all, kind of levels it out, because not a lot of people, frankly, are going to be watching the debate. So he won't give a platform to the other candidates. Whereas hypothetically, right, the reason I say he only has something to lose by debating is not saying it will happen, but hypothetically, some other candidate can take a shot at him or do this or that. And, you know, like I said, in the end, in the grand scheme of things, the other candidates have everything to gain by Trump being at the debate, because they're there and they can take shots at him, whereas Donald Trump has basically reached what's close to his ceiling at this point in the polls. It is so high. It's like 50 to 60%. You know, my take overall is, like I said, I'd like to see Trump debate. I'm not super mad about him not debating. And it is what it is. Obviously, I'm attending. You know, I selfishly would like to see him in that debate. Obviously, it will generate more views on this channel and everything when we're covering the debate if Donald Trump is there. But, you know, realistically, at the same time, I understand why he won't do it. I think he should. I think he should at some point at least do one GOP debate. But, you know, really, frankly, what can you say? Other than, until another candidate actually starts competing with Trump in this race and crosses, I don't know, 20%, you know, how can you really say, where's Trump debating? You know, Trump can make the argument, well, I'm already going to be the nominee. I'm way out ahead. I'm basically a de facto incumbent. This party shouldn't be focused on the debate. It should be focused on defeating Biden, which, like I said, until DeSantis, whoever it is, makes it somewhat competitive in the polls, I think that's kind of a valid argument in some ways. The other angle you could take, and I think partially what else is also going on here, is the argument over Fox News, okay? Which, because we are going to be attending their debate this Wednesday, I'm gonna not counter signal too much, okay? Because I don't want my credentials revoked and we can't even get content and we're stuck in Milwaukee, right? But no, in all seriousness, you know, obviously, Fox News, you know what we already will say about that, okay? Not only have they been kind of dishonest and disingenuous to Trump, forget that entire debacle. I think the biggest thing is Tucker Carlson, right? We all stand with Tucker. We understand this. We all believe it was an unjust firing. So, you know, should Trump, is it better overall for the movement if Trump gives Fox News the platform, or if he gives Tucker Carlson the platform? Well, I think if you support the base, if you're kind of on board with the whole Fox News boycott thing, and you think they're basically pawns of the establishment at this point, if they're controlled opposition, if they've fallen, then there's an argument to be made that overall, in the grand scheme of things, though you would all like to see Trump debate, and so would I, you know, the fact that he is giving Tucker Carlson the platform instead, maybe there's something beneficial overall about that. Maybe in the end that is a good look. Maybe in the end that is a good thing. And of course, all the non-Trumpers in chat will inevitably say, Vince, you're basically just playing team politics at this point. If it weren't Trump, if it were someone else who was refusing the debate with the same arguments Trump was making, or if you didn't support Trump, then you'd call him a coward for debating. To which I say, you're not entirely wrong to that. Yes, there is a degree to which I'm being partisan about this. I'm playing team politics. Welcome to politics, right? It is indeed a team sport. My point, and I know people are going to come to me saying this, but my point overall is that while I would like to see my candidate that I support debate, I obviously would, it's not a totally discrediting thing to me that he doesn't debate. I don't think it's the biggest deal, right? Now, with that said, it's really, in the grand scheme of things, going to be a big blow to Fox News, because I guarantee you the fact that, the ratings might be decent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying no one's going to watch it, but I think you're going to see a big ratings hit overall from Fox because Donald Trump is not debating. Donald Trump is going to tank Fox News. And like I said, when you understand what they've done to Tucker, when we all kind of agree, I think most of us do, that all of us conservatives are at the very least not super friendly and oftentimes hostile to Fox News these days because we know everything that they've done, then maybe, like I said, in the grand scheme of things, it's not the worst thing to ever happen in the world that Trump is not going to show up. No one's going to watch this debate. Frankly, it's probably going to be rather boring, to tell you the truth. And, overall, he's hurting Fox News by doing so. Okay. So, there's sort of my thoughts on it. You can disagree, obviously. It is what it is, okay? I understand the arguments to be made that Trump should attend the debate, but at the same time, he is something of an anti-establishment guy. At least that's what we believe him to be. That's what his supporters believe him to be. So maybe there's something to be said about saying, I'm not going to show up to Fox. I'm going to show up to Tucker Carlson instead. I'm not going to give crooked Fox and the crooked RNC a platform. I am instead going to go do my own thing, and they need me. I don't need them. So there, you could look at it both ways. You guys can let me know what you think. Obviously, it's sort of a nuanced conversation. But there's my thoughts on Trump not debating. Now, in a second, I do want to talk about, who, in terms of who is debating, kind of how I think that's going to go and what's going to happen there. But first, really quickly, let me read these super chats. So, dollar for $2 says, go Alex Stein mode on the interviews. What does it mean to go Alex Stein mode? I'm not putting on a woman's bathing suit, okay? But what does that mean, dollar for dollar? What does that mean? Not sure. But thank you for the $2. Sheeny Beanie for $2 says, PSA, veganism is pagan. This is indeed true. Veganism is a pagan cult in many ways because, if you're a Christian, you believe that God in Genesis gives human beings, right, dominion over the earth and the beasts of the earth, right? It's biblically sound to be allowed to eat meat and all that stuff. But veganism in many ways, I would say if you just falsely believe it's a healthy diet, which some vegans do, I think you're just misguided. But yes, the moral philosophy around veganism, the whole idea that, mankind is on the same moral level as animals and animals deserve the same rights as human beings, it's pagan. I think it's fundamentally satanic, right? It's anti-human, it's anti-God. It goes against the hierarchy that I believe God creates for the world, which is, right, God, obviously the beings of heaven, angels, all that stuff, then humans, then animals, then the beasts of the earth, right? There's a hierarchy there. I think what the devil does in terms of veganism, and I think there's a reason why veganism literally is bad for people and sometimes kills people, is that it morally says, no, actually, God's command in terms of the hierarchy of human beings and animals is wrong, and actually animals are on the same level morally as human beings, and they have the same rights. It is pagan. Frankly, it is satanic. I think it is worship of kind of the Mother Nature, God, and all that stuff. And I think that's very true. So thank you for the $2 Sheeny Beanie. And again, folks, if you would like to help support our trip to the GOP debate this Wednesday, feel free to do so via these super chats. And we are going to do our best to get content for all of you guys. All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on here and talk about... So now that Trump has been discussed, what's going to happen at the GOP debate itself? Frankly, I don't know, but I have a prediction. Here's my official prediction, okay? A lot of people will say, I think the common consensus going in is going to be that it's going to be a great night for DeSantis. Right now, DeSantis has the open platform and he's going to do, he's just going to go off, okay? I would say, in my opinion, that would be true if a certain troublemaker, right, a certain spoiler named Vivek Ramaswamy were not in this race. My prediction, and I may be horribly wrong, who knows, you know, you all can come and make fun of me if I'm wrong. My prediction actually is that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to steal the night, right? Because, you know, when you compare him side by side to the DeSantis may have this whole aura of, look, I'm effective, I know policy, all of that stuff. But when you're in a debate, it's more going to be a masterclass in rhetoric, right? And I think the fact that Vivek is so well-spoken, as people know, he's well-spoken, he's articulate, he's sharp, he's frankly 10 times more charismatic, at least on that level, than DeSantis. I can see him optically in this situation taking what is supposed to be Ron DeSantis' night and running out as the winner of it. Okay, so that is my prediction. I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe DeSantis does what he's supposed to do and what people who support him think he should do. But that's my prediction. Is I think at the end of the night, the straw polls and whatnot may yield and be showing to everyone that actually it was a Vivek Ramaswamy night. Okay. And I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. And I know some people may say that DeSantis needs to be worried about the other neocons like Chris Christie, right? And we may actually tune into the Chris Christie town hall tonight. But I guess he's another character on that stage. Actually, did he even qualify for the debate? I guess we should investigate that. I don't know if Chris Christie even qualified for the debate, but if Chris Christie did, okay, because I don't know, I actually don't know. I should have looked that up beforehand. But you know, for some reason, the anti-Trumpers, the neocons, they really have this obsession with Chris Christie because I guess Chris Christie has a lot of ideas and policies and proposals, and he's articulate. To which I say, I guess the man, in a sense, is a little bit mentally sharp in the sense that, yeah, he does have a lot of answers to things, but he is a terrible look optically, okay? He looks like a fool. He sounds like a fool. He stumbles around, you know, in a very large way. He just stumbles around. He's a joke to everyone. You know, this whole idea that Chris Christie's going to go out there and he's so sharp and articulate. His optics are terrible. Right? He's a terrible look. No one takes him seriously. He is a joke, okay? So I don't think that DeSantis on Wednesday night needs to be worried about Chris Christie. Oh, Chris Christie's going to go around and tell everyone about how, you know, his 14-point plan to reform Social Security. No one cares. You're a slob. You're a neocon. You suck. You've been a laughingstock in this party since 2019, 2020, and that's not changing, right? That's not changing. Tim Scott, I don't think is going to do much. Mike Pence, already a joke. You know, Nikki Haley, what is she going to do? Go be sanctimonious about how capitalism or something? Realistically, I don't think that clown car behind Vivek and DeSantis is going to do anything. I think we're all just going to sit there and laugh at them. But in terms of DeSantis, I do think he's going to have a Ramaswamy problem. And we'll have to honestly see how that goes. Like I said, my prediction is that actually I think Vivek's going to win the night overall. And, you know, that's just what I think. Who knows? Maybe DeSantis finally has a good moment in this campaign because so far everything he's supposed to be able to do right has just been disappointing, you know, in terms of the announcement and some of these public appearances and letting his wife be more charismatic than him. But who knows? Maybe he actually does it. But my prediction, like I said, is going to be, I think it's going to be a Ramaswamy night. Anyways, with that said, I want to move on here a little bit to discuss this. I think this was actually a couple days ago, but you know, more controversy, I suppose, in Ron DeSantis world. Trump supporters are mad. People are mad that he basically he went out and referred to the Trump base or the Trump quote unquote cultists as listless vessels. Okay, so let's take a look. This is the controversial DeSantis comment that like I said, a lot of Trump people are up in arms about. I'll give you my thoughts in a second, but let's listen to what he actually has to say about calling apparently Trump supporters are listless vessels. Okay.
If all we are is listless vessels that's just supposed to follow, you know, whatever happens to come down the pike on Truth Social every morning, that's not going to be a durable movement.
Okay.
As Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and he is now catching some heat from the Trump campaign ahead of the first Republican debate, being compared by some to Hillary Clinton for those comments about members of Congress supporting the former president. But his campaign is firing back, saying, quote, Donald Trump and some congressional endorsers are listless vessels. Why? Because Trump and D.C. insiders feel he is entitled to your vote. Ron DeSantis believes your trust should be earned, and he has the vision, plan, and record to beat Joe Biden and reverse the decline of our country. That coming from the DeSantis campaign. But let's bring in the man himself, Ron DeSantis, Florida governor and Republican presidential candidate. Governor, good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure to be with you.
So tell me a little bit about that comment that you made over the weekend. And we played it in its full context. I know you.
Dude, he's so awkward, okay? Like, I do like him as my governor, all right? This is why I won't totally throw the guy under the bus, because, you know, on a personal level, he actually did a lot for me, okay? He's the reason, you know, I could go to college and not be vaccinated or have to wear a mask or any of that stuff, you know? But the guy, man, he's such an awkward, weird dude. And I'll explain more in a second.
We felt that in some cases it was
this is why
taken
he can't
out of
relate
context. But if it was misinterpreted, explain to us what you meant in that.
Well, Martha, every Republican voter I've ever come in contact with, whether they're strong for Trump, lukewarm, or anything in between, wants us to stand on principle when you get elected or if you're involved in this process. And I think one of the big problems with our party for many, many years is people say they're going to do certain things and then don't end up following through. And so at the end of the day, it's what are we delivering for the people that have put us into office? And in the state of Florida, I can say that I have delivered more for America First principles than anybody else in the country. I mean, we've prohibited the CCP from purchasing land. We've cracked down on illegal immigration, expanded Second Amendment rights. We got indoctrination out of our schools. We have universal school choice, and our crime rate's at a 50-year low because we've done things like remove Soros-backed district attorneys. So that it's about results. And I think what you've had, the people in Congress that I was referring to that have attacked me and tried to say somehow that I was a rhino, they're putting entertainment and personality over principle. Our voters want us to stand on principle and fight for them.
All right, so there's DeSantis basically doubling down on the listless vessel comment. Now, a couple things I do want to address. I guess actually first and foremost, let me tell you this whole like listless vessel thing. That's kind of what he called a bunch of. Now he's clarifying it was about congressmen, but you know some people thought it was about the Trump base. It's being compared. This is what Trump world is saying. It's being compared to the deplorables comment by Hillary Clinton in 2016. And I kind of replied with this, which is true, is that honestly, I didn't really find it all that insulting. You know, the whole a listless vessel. To me, it's less so insulting as it is just nerdy. And the use of that terminology, frankly, just reflects overall, you know, everything that is sort of wrong with Ron DeSantis and his campaign, I suppose, which is that what is a listless vessel? What does that mean? You know, and I've pointed this out before. The guy, you know, I guess he's smart, you know, he's Ivy League educated, but the guy cannot communicate in easy to understand, straightforward terms. And I think that's a big reason why his message on this campaign trail is not getting through to people. Remember, some of you may remember when we reacted to him being asked about the Russia-Ukraine issue. And I think the answer he gave was he wants slightly paraphrasing, but this is basically what he said. Similar words. He says, like, I want a prolonged peace that does not incentivize sustained aggression. Like, it was a very think tanky, nerdy answer. It was almost like you're writing a paper in high school and you use big words so that the teacher gives you a good grade. And when you listen to him all the time, that is how he communicates, right? He speaks in this very nerdy, DC, think tanky way about a lot of things. And so to me, right, I'm not, as a Trump supporter, super insulted. Oh, he called us a listless vessel. I just listen to something like that and kind of roll my eyes once again and say, well, there's Ron DeSantis once again saying weird words that don't make any sense. What is a listless vessel? Like, what does that mean? The analogies he uses, the things he says, it's just so awkward. You know, and so I said this, another example of Ron using weird terms that nobody understands. Everything he says is an odd word salad, because this is true. This is true, right? So anyways, there's my thoughts on the listless vessels comment. Like I said, I don't think it's the biggest deal. You know, frankly, if you wanted to call them cultists, he should have just said it, okay? There's a straightforward term. Heck, if he wanted to call them deplorables, which obviously people get very mad at, but at least that would be a more straightforward term than a listless vessel. Okay, what the heck is a listless vessel? And my question is, why does Ron DeSantis, for a guy who claims he's so electable and can win actual voters, use terminology like this all the time? You know, monkey this up, all these just weird words that just, I don't know. I never know with the guy. All right, that's the term listless vessel. The substantive argument, I guess I would make in response, and why I have skepticisms about Ron DeSantis is that, you know, as much as he says, right, that I deliver on results and Trump didn't deliver on results. First of all, I think it ignores the successes of the first Trump presidency, although there were the downsides, don't get me wrong, I understand that. But a lot of the things he names there, right? For instance, he says we expanded, I think the first thing he says was he expanded Second Amendment rights. So when you really look at his record in Florida on a lot of issues, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of good stuff. One of the best governors that conservatives have had in a long time, okay? I'm not downplaying that. I'm not saying he didn't do anything in Florida. Obviously, he did. But, you know, when we talk about the issue of being a performative politician, right, about doing things that principally aren't really that great, but at least kind of look good on the surface, when you go through a lot of Ron DeSantis' political record in Florida, you'll find in many cases that's kind of what it is, right? So he brings up the fact that he got constitutional carry done, which obviously is a good thing, okay? It's been a long time here in Florida, and finally we have constitutional carry. The only problem is it's not constitutional carry. It is actually the weakest constitutional carry law in the entire country. Because first of all, you know, they're calling it constitutional carry. It's not even constitutional because you can't open carry, first of all. Every other constitutional carry state you can open carry except Florida. Why? Because it's not constitutional carry, right? That's number one. And then number two, they don't even have campus carry, okay? So, for instance, you know, I go to the University of Florida. I'm not allowed to carry on campus, all right? And you might say, okay, but that's campus, who cares? Well, I would say that the state of Georgia, you can carry on campus. Texas can carry on campus. A lot of red states in their constitutional carry law include campus carry, okay? We don't have campus carry. And, you know, when you consider the fact that, like, UF takes up, like, half of the city of Gainesville, that's like half the city of Gainesville you're not allowed to constitutionally carry on. But Second Amendment, am I right? That's on the Second Amendment stuff. A lot of other stuff too, you know, like E-Verify. You know, they always celebrate this. Oh, Florida got E-Verify done. When you really look into it, the whole thing is optional, and it's not really E-Verify, right? But it's like partial E-Verify. So that's what I would say, and I think that's a genuine concern you have to raise when we talk about DeSantis' candidacy and his ability to be effective, right? And he's standing on principles. He's gotten real policies done. He's gotten a lot of good stuff done. Don't get me wrong. It's better that we have a form of constitutional carry than none. It's better that we, you know, have some form of E-Verify than not. But when you really look into the record of these things, I think people got to be careful about this. Everything you accuse Trump of doing that was performative, there's a lot of Ron DeSantis performative too. And, you know, big thing, a lot of it was he wanted to do something and then Disney pushes back or the state legislature pushes back. And I'm not saying it's discrediting. I'm just saying it's something to keep in mind on that front, okay? It's something to keep in mind. Anyways, long story short, there's the Ron DeSantis listless vessel comment. You guys can let me know what you think and overall about all this stuff. So with that said, folks, let's get caught up here on our super chats, and then we got to move on to our other topics, okay? We're going to shift away from the GOP primary stuff a little bit, but really quickly, let's read our super chats here. All right, let's go. Let's see. All right, here we go. Tony for $10 says, "This is it." Hold on, let me get back to it so I can read it. Sorry. "This is it. If we do not win, the country is lost. What are you people willing to do about it? They have tested us. We are sheep. The lockdowns prove that much. The future looks bleak." Thank you for the $10, Tony. I appreciate it. You know, I don't entirely disagree with you. I think in many ways what you're saying is right, but I think at the same time, you have to be optimistic. You know why? Is because being black-pilled, being kind of doomeristic about everything, it doesn't serve you any good, even in the worst of situations. And the analogy I always make to this is, let's say it's like World War I, you're stuck in the trench and you're getting shelled, right? Obviously, you're probably going to die. But there's a slim chance you might not die, right? There's slim, but there is a chance. And even if it's 100% guaranteed you're going to die, you know, what is more effective? The soldier in that situation who's thinking on his feet and says, I'm not giving up, we're going to get out of this, okay, everyone keep their heads, or the person who's completely just, and I'm not saying you're doing this, I'm just using it as an example, right? The person who's completely just, you know, saying, we're all going to die, it's over, I'm too young to die, all that stuff, right? The soldier who panics. In 100% of scenarios, even if it's guaranteed you are going to die, in that scenario, it's better to be the soldier who keeps their head, right? Because in the slim chance you get out, you're going to get out because you kept your head, you kept your cool, you know, you thought rationally. And I think it's the same thing in politics, which is even when, you know, things don't look good for the future of the country, which to tell you the truth, I don't think they do. You know, as much as we want to debate electability in 2024, I don't think it's going to be easy regardless of who the candidate is. You know, I think that part of the reason why I don't really just sit here and doom all the time, as they say, you know, just talk about how screwed the country is even though deep down I believe it, I will tell you that even deep down I believe it, what use does it do for me to entertain those thoughts, especially to entertain those to you guys, right? To just demoralize people on a regular basis. Because like I said, even if there's nothing I can do, even if the country is doomed, which it probably is, it's better for me in this situation to be the soldier who's telling everyone we're going to get out, everyone keep their calm, and trying to figure out the ways to get out, instead of the person who gives up and is just like, we're all going to die. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm just saying, I do agree with you, but that's kind of how I feel about the situation or the direction of our country, I suppose. Thank you for the $10 though, Tony. I appreciate it. God bless you. Christopher for $5 says, to me, Ron's comments show he's kind of an elitist that the base hates. This is why non-politicians like Vivek and Trump are leading. It's true. It's true. I don't really have much to say, Christopher. I 100% agree. I think that assessment is accurate, and you know, I frankly feel the same way about it. It's just who says that? Listless vessel. Right, what does that mean? I have no idea. Again, folks, if you do want to super chat to support the show tonight, it is greatly appreciated. I will read them in between all of our segments. And like I said, if you would like to help fund and support our trip to the GOP debate on Wednesday, you know, again, greatly appreciated in advance. All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's pivot a little bit from this discussion of, you know, the primary and the debate, all of that, to some cultural news, okay? And there's a story I want to talk about because I want to drop a hot take. All right, I want to be. I don't think a lot of people are going to find it super controversial, but I will say I have seen a lot of conservatives giving this a hard time or saying this is the one time it's stupid. And to me, I actually disagree. I think this is an incredibly intelligent and informed decision. But what am I talking about here? Okay. Well, as reported by Censored Men, trans women, aka biological males, have been banned from competing in women's chess competitions. Great news. Okay. So, you know, they're not letting the trans play in the women's chess competitions anymore. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up as a story is because I think I saw the reaction this weekend, and I don't think everyone fully gets it. Okay. Because I saw a lot of conservatives saying stuff like, well, this is actually the one I disagree with, right? Because, you know, men, what's the difference? Chess is a mental game, you know, so shouldn't men and women be allowed to play against each other? What's the big deal? Why is chess a gendered game, right? To which I say, okay, and this is what I want people to understand. No. This is actually an incredibly good thing. Now, I understand why it is a controversial good thing. I understand why a lot of conservatives are not ready or don't fully understand this conversation yet, but nonetheless, it is true, which is that, and I said this, right? This is actually very red-pilled, right? This is actually, as controversial as it is, this actually to me is brilliant because it acknowledges that men and women have different brains, not just different bodies. And if you watch this channel at all, you know this is a point I try to make all the time, which is I try to remind people, folks, as much as we talk about the transgender stuff, okay, in terms of the sports, and look, biological male, look, obviously William Thomas should not be competing for, NCAA swimming competitions and all that ludicrousness. I think it's important to understand when we have this conversation of what is a woman and the differences between men and women, that the differences between the sexes is not just an external thing, it is an internal thing, right? And this is why I say it's actually a good thing that chess is a gendered game, and why it should be a gendered game is because men and women have fundamentally different brains. And so that you may say, Vince, how does that affect chess? Well, here's where it gets controversial, but it's very true, okay? And this is why I love that they did this, because it's starting a conversation that is controversial, but nonetheless needs to be had, which is a couple things. First of all, is the issue, think about what it takes to play chess at a super professional level, okay? So first thing it requires is spatial awareness, okay? And anyone who plays chess, I mean, I play it casually sometimes, right? Anyone who plays chess knows this. It's big about knowing your position on the board, right? Pattern recognition, knowing where you are, spatial awareness. Well, biologically speaking, again, we always want to just talk like men and women are different on the inside, but we're actually all the same on the inside. That's a liberal idea. That's what some conservatives need to understand. That is also liberal misinformation. That is not true. Up here, in here, men and women are different as well. Okay, in terms of spatial awareness, which again, you need to play chess. On average, men have better spatial recognition and awareness than women. Hence, this is why you have the stereotypes around driving, right? The stereotype about how, on average, YouTube, people say that women are worse drivers than men. Well, that's not entirely just because no reason, right? Driving takes what? Spatial awareness. Biologically speaking, this has been studied on average, right? Men have higher spatial awareness than women. So when it comes to playing chess, a game that's very heavy on that, especially at the very professional level, men do have a biological advantage in sport, in the game of chess, okay, because of that kind of mental ability. And again, this is even more controversial, but as you may know, at the highest levels of chess, it all comes down to IQ. Right? So when we're sitting here, like me and one of the viewers, if we sit down and have a casual game, it's going to come down to experience, most likely. Because I'm an amateur player, I'm not anything special, so it's all a matter of experience, whatever it is. But anyone who knows about the sport of chess, right? At the highest echelons of the game, you really do max out in terms of IQ, right? It just becomes IQ at that point. There's a certain point where you max out and you won't get any better because that's your IQ. It's how it is. That's how chess works, right? It's a biological game in that sense, okay? Well, what you would also know is that at the very top of the IQ curve, everyone knows this, no one wants to admit it, but this is biologically, scientifically true, right? At the highest level of the IQ curve, who dominates that? Men, right? So men, on average, when you look at the IQ distribution, tend to be the dumbest and the smartest, okay? So the lowest IQ people in the world are men. The smartest IQ people are men. Women, on average, tend to take the middle of the IQ curve, okay? Middle IQ. So when you compare this in a professional chess game, right? You have a man, a biological quote unquote man competing against a woman. They very likely are going to have a biologically higher IQ than the woman. Again, because we're talking about grandmaster levels. Everyone who plays chess at professional levels, by definition, a genius, right? So on average, a man's going to have a higher IQ and higher spatial awareness, okay? And that, folks, is why men have an advantage in chess. And if you don't believe me, and if you think I'm totally making all this up, then let's compare the average chess grandmaster ratings, right? So let's look at the ELO scores. These are like ratings in terms of how good are you at chess, okay? So the highest ever ELO score in chess is Magnus Carlsen, as many of you guys would know, most famous chess player to ever live. He's rated at 2851, okay? And if you look at the kind of distributions here, all of the top people, actually this image shows it right here, right? All the top men, the top 5 men are all in the 2800s. Actually, all of them, right? All like the top 10 and stuff players of all time, all their scores are in the 2800s. So you can tell, in terms of this score, it's a very narrow gap all between them, but all the best chess players in the world max out at about 2800 ELO score. In terms of women, They all, the best woman player ever is a 2600, and then look at that, all 2500s, right? So you're talking about a 200 to 300 point difference in terms of men versus women at the highest levels of chess. And anyone who plays on chess.com knows that, hey, a 300 difference in ELO score is pretty significant. Why is that? Well, people can say it just because, oh, well, women haven't been encouraged to play chess or all of that stuff. You can make all the excuses in the world you want. They make these same excuses of why men dominate the STEM fields. But if you really want to have an honest conversation, it really does come down to the fact that, again, mentally speaking, not just physically, mentally speaking, men and women are different. At the highest echelons like this, men are going to dominate the sport of chess, okay? Obviously, you know, I'm like an amateur. I'm like 300, 400 ELO or something, okay? Whatever. Like, so there's a lot of women out there who could beat me at chess, obviously, right? Who is this? Yifan Hu would totally destroy me in chess, okay? So before you bring that argument, that's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm not saying that there are not women who are better than men at chess. I'm, of course, saying, right, at the top levels, we're talking about the professional competitive levels, in the same sense that, you know, Riley Gaines could probably swim faster than me. She's a woman. She could probably swim faster than me because I'm not a professional swimmer. But against the professional, you know, against Michael Phelps, Riley Gaines is going to get destroyed. In that same level, in that same sense, in chess, it's the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. And the reason I say this is such a red pill, again, is because this is all true. I'm just simply stating the facts, right? The top IQ geniuses in the world are men. The best chess players are men. Men have more spatial awareness than women. The reason I'm saying this is such a controversial thing and a real red pill is because it forces us as conservatives to acknowledge, you know, when we talk about this concept of gender equality and we just say, oh, well, you know, the genders are different on the outside, but the inside, we're all the same. Men and women, if we want to do the same things in society and do, you know, take all the same roles and, you know, marriage and relationships should be equal, you know, like in terms of we share responsibilities. All of that stuff is not biologically grounded, right? And if conservatives truly want to take this conversation forward, we need to understand that, okay? Obviously, right now, the debate to be had is we need to stop the current advance of them in the culture, okay? So I get that. So we need to stop the trans sports and beauty pageants and all that stuff because it's ridiculous, and obviously everyone knows that it's silly. But I think deep down, where do we take it, assuming we win that culture war? If we do, the next place we need to take it is a genuine conversation of when we say what is a man and what is a woman, it's not just about a man has a penis, a woman has a vagina. It's not just about men have more testosterone and hence they're stronger. It is also about mentally. Our temperaments are different. The way we process information and emotions and all that stuff is different. And hence, there's a reason why traditional gender roles exist. That's really what it should always kind of ultimately come back to. And the reason I bring this up is to say, you know, there's something to be said about that. About the difference between men and women being something deeper and more inherent than just physical differences on the outside. But of course, I think because of the current the level to which feminism has won in our society, even a lot of right-wingers, as I saw this weekend, don't really grasp that. They don't really get that. Even because even they're saying, well, this is the one that doesn't make sense. It actually is another one that just does make sense. Okay, for that reason. That's why men shouldn't compete against women in chess at the highest level. You know? So anyways, folks, let me know what you think about that, though, in the comment section in the live chat. Let's move on here to our super chats. In fact, I believe we're all caught up here on tonight's stories. Actually, let me see. In a second, we'll check in. I want to see if the Christie, Adam Kinzinger town hall is still happening. But first, folks, let's get caught up on the rest of our super chats, and we'll read them here for a bit. So if you would like to send one in now, feel free to do so. Again, help support our trip to the GOP debate on Wednesday. All right, let's see. Where did we leave off? Did we leave off on this one? Okay, I did read this one from Christopher. Thank you for the $5, though, Christopher. All right. We should be on now on this one right here for $10 from, it'll play, there we go, Gnarl Antlers for $10 says, hold on, let me get caught up on it. Gnarl Antlers for $10 says, DeSantis comes off like he's more concerned about making sure you know he's intelligent than he is concerned with communicating efficiently. Well, that's exactly my critique of him, and it's true, right? And, you know, there's something to be said about that. About using words that relate to people. You know what I mean? Especially knowing your audience, okay? If Ron DeSantis, the way he speaks, was speaking at some DC think tank to get the Heritage Foundation, for instance, to adopt this idea or this platform, you know, it'd be perfect. It'd be perfect. He blends in well with all the DC policy wonks who write his speeches. But yes, you're right. When it comes to interacting with normal Americans, listless vessels, prolonged peace that doesn't reward sustained aggression or whatever he says, you notice this when he communicates. It's true. Everything he says is a word salad. And I know the DeSantis people will say, Vince, you're just stupid. No, I understand what he's saying. I do understand what he's saying. But there is something to be said about when you use you know, it's called invisible writing. In the same sense, invisible writing, I think there's such a thing as invisible speaking, which is that when you use words that are just too big and, you know, just your communication actually gets jumbled. And if you have to sit down and listen to what someone is saying, like carefully and kind of in order to figure out what they're saying, you've already lost the person, right? Because when Donald Trump just gets out there and says, we're going to end the war in 24 hours on the Ukraine front, right? Everyone knows what that means. It hits you right like this, right? Instant communication, you know what's being said. If you have to listen carefully, which you often do with Ron DeSantis, you have to listen carefully to discern, oh, that's what he means by that. This is what this word means. If you have to do that, you've already lost. Or you've already lost. You've already screwed up the communication because, you know, you want to be straightforward and effective. And I think that's his problem. And when it comes to communication is that he's not. And it's true. So thank you for the $10 Gnarl Antler. I appreciate it very much. Here we go. Tony for $5 says, most people will gladly march their way to the gulags they built, telling each other to put their masks on. No panic soldier here, was a sailor, eyes open. Thank you for the $5. Tony, well, I appreciate it. Thank you for your service. And but yeah, there you go, right? So you fully understand my analogy. You definitely do. But it is true. It is true. But you know what I'd say about that, Tony, is that when you really think about it, in any period in human history, including our revolution, the masses have always kind of just by the way, let's get the stream to 100 likes. Everyone like the stream right now. But the masses, to a degree, always go along with the current thing, right? This is why you talk about the 3% rule, which doesn't, the 3% rule does not just apply, in my opinion, to violent armed revolutions. Disavow, obviously, YouTube. But I think it also refers to political movements as well, right? Look at the left wing. Look at the LGBT and all that stuff. Does that really truly comprise more than 3% of society? No. But I think a focused group of people who all have a common goal, they're competent, and they're intent on effecting this change or doing this thing, truthfully, that's all that it really needs to shape or change society. So, you know, what I would say is that I think so long as there's, you know, I think that's the problem is we conservatives right now, we're not organized, right? But if we have an organized small percentage of people who just all commonly agree, this is what we want, this is what we're doing, and we're driven, and we're not going to back down and all that stuff, you know, that is truly enough. That is truly enough. You think about how any change has ever happened, peaceful or via revolution, right? The founding fathers, for instance, you know, no more than 3% of American colonists, you know, were involved in that and fought in it actively, I'm pretty sure, you know. But what happened? A group of, frankly, elites, you could argue in many ways, but a group of men, the founding fathers, who were driven and intent on a goal, all got together and said, this is what we're doing, and they galvanized the masses to follow them. Communists have done this, you know, it's a left-wing and right-wing thing. Communists have done the same thing. You know, Mao Zedong, you know, Vladimir Lenin, right? The Bolsheviks were a minority in Soviet Russia, but they still managed to take over. You know, I think it goes both ways. Look at the left wing in America, right? They are historically a minority. They have historically been ridiculed and pushed back. But just because a small percentage of them didn't give up and they were focused and they kept going in the same direction, I mean, it's true. Look what happened. But it is true. Thank you for the $5, though. Tony, I appreciate it. God bless you, man. And like I said, thank you for your service. Sam Nguyen for $20 just donates $20. I appreciate it. My Vietnamese brother, okay? Sam Nguyen for $20. Appreciate it very much. God bless you. JD for $2 says, I'm not going to answer that on YouTube, JD. I'm not going to answer that on YouTube. I'm just going to say, well, you can look at the statistics. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say, JD. That's all I'm gonna say is just you can view the statistics. Okay, thank you for the $2, JD. Sheeny Beanie for $2 says godless people deny that men and women are distinct. This is true. This is true, Sheenie Beanie. And that's really where it comes from. All this stuff. It comes from a fundamental rejection of God, and I would say God's design. That's where it all comes from, you know? That's really where this, you know, they always say the false god of equality. How often have you heard conservatives say that? And maybe it's cliche, but it's actually true to a degree, right? Because if you believe in a natural, real creator, right, you would observe that that creator has placed hierarchy in this world, okay? It's a hierarchical world. Human beings over animals. Human beings over each other, right? You know, why are we governed by some people and not others? Why are we not an egalitarian society? Why are men different from women? Why is this nation above that nation? Whatever it is. It's a hierarchical world, right? But, you know, you brought up earlier, Sheenie Beanie, you brought up the example of veganism, and that's true, right? What does veganism say? It says, actually, there is no hierarchy between human beings and animals deserve the same rights as human beings, and that's why you shouldn't eat any meat, right? That's a rejection. That's actually fundamentally at its core, it's a rejection of God. It's a rejection of God's design, right? Because also, I would argue to believe in God, you have to believe in hierarchy, because you have to believe that there's a power above you, right? So it's very fundamental. If you believe in God, you have to believe in hierarchy, because God, by definition, has hierarchy over you, right? But I think when you reject hierarchy, and this is why, you know, like I said, for decades, conservatives have said this thing, false god of equality, but it is actually true, is that, you know, when you make equality your god, you have to, in a sense, reject a real God. You know what I mean? So it's very true. It's very true. Real Text in Politics sends a member chat saying, Christie just held a virtual town hall with Adam Kinzinger, and spoiler alert, it was basically a preview of next year's DNC. Well, thank you for the member chat, and I actually want to tune into it, okay? I want to check it out, folks. I have not seen it. Here, let me pull it up here. Do you guys want to watch it? We're not going to watch the full thing, obviously, but I did want to keep that as my bonus story, because I kind of want to see. I kind of want to see what happened here, folks. So let's actually tune in. I want to see the... I want to see the Christie Adam Kinzinger town hall. Let's see. Is it on YouTube? Is it not on YouTube here? I know Real American streamed it. Okay, so let's try to find it. Chat, do we want to watch? We want to watch the Christie Adam Kinzinger town hall. All right, let's tune into the stream here. Okay, because I myself want to see the disaster that was this. So here you go, folks. Have not seen this. This is live. We're checking out right now. Christie virtual town hall with Adam Kinzinger. Okay, so let's check it out. Let's check it out. I want to see how this went.
To join us this evening.
Who the hell is this?
Of truth on our elections, but to also
is this a Zoom call
from some people who have?
You're gonna have to excuse Real Americans commentary. Okay, I don't know where the original stream is, so we have to listen. But by the way, since I am stream sniping him, everyone be sure to go subscribe, folks, to Real American. Oh, let me so you can see it. No, hold on. Everyone, go subscribe to Real American Politics. Okay. Let me comment. I'll just comment real because it is real. Subscribe to Real American Politics. Check out his stream. Leave a like because we are stream sniping it. Okay. Here, let's take a listen.
Demonstrated a commitment to telling uncomfortable truths, even when the cost is so high. Here at Country First, we welcome all reasonable people of goodwill, from all parties and of none. We're creating a home for the reasonable majority. But it's important to note that the reasonable majority isn't always going to agree on.
By the way, shout out Rumble chat. If anyone is watching on Rumble, shout out.
Instead,
I'm muting this guy. Super Chad. Real Text and Politics for 2. Who does Kinzinger vote for?
All right, let's see.
January 6th. Oh, God.
All right. Here's the Christie town hall, folks.
Oh, jeez.
Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Chris Christie.
Here he hobbles out.
Well, good evening, everybody out there in Country First Land. I thank you for inviting me on tonight.
Okay, look, I'm sorry. Shout out Real American, but I feel like we got to watch this ourselves because I can't even. It's like it'd be too much commentary. Okay, let me try to find the original town hall. Adam Kinzinger. Maybe it's on Twitter. I don't know. Because I just feel like it's too chaotic. Oh, here we go. All right, here's the original stream, guys. Because I want to give my reaction. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. Here we go.
Because if our leaders can't be honest with us about our worst days, how can they lead us to our best? But we know there will be at least one voice on that debate stage willing to tell the truth about the crimes and conduct of Donald Trump. And he's with us here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Chris Christie.
Well, good evening, everybody out there in Country First Land. I thank you for inviting me on tonight and giving me the opportunity to speak to all of you about,
by the way,
the issues that we just laid out.
His slogan is "Country First," which is ironic because you know his Ukraine stance. Same thing with Adam Kinzinger. I think actually the Adam Kinzinger new political party or movement or whatever is called Country First, which is ironic because he literally, I'm pretty sure, still has Adam Kinzinger has a Ukraine flag in his Twitter bio, and he founded a thing called Country First, which is really funny.
In the video that preceded me, but also to talk about all the other issues that concern us as a country. And I thank Congressman Kinzinger for the
I'm
invitation
surprised he didn't
to
state
be
his
here
pronouns.
tonight as well.
True.
Look, I'm running for president because the truth matters. It's not negotiable. The truth is not something that we get to pick and choose based upon what our own political leanings or
very powerful statement. You want a donut for it?
Party registration might be. The truth is the truth. And the American people have to start hearing the truth
takes, folks.
Directly from people who aspire to leadership here. And when I look at my own party, one of the biggest reasons I got into this race is because no one was telling the truth about Donald Trump. What was going on was excuse making and rationalizing, and in some instances,
that was not my phone. It was actually his phone, which is funny.
Just flat out lying about what happened in the 2020 election. The facts are pretty simple, everybody. Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump in the 2020 election. In fact, he defeated Donald Trump as decisively as Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton just 4 years earlier. And from the minute that election night happened,
aren't you blown away?
I began urging the former president to tell the truth, concede the race, and to allow the peaceful transfer of power to happen without any drama and certainly without any violence. We all know what happened. And that's resulted in all of the cases that we now see filed against the former president.
You know, it's so funny how, you know, all these guys, Mike Pence, Chris Christie, whoever it is, they claim that they're running on principle and they make all this stuff. Oh, well, Jan 6, all this stuff. Everyone knows that's not what it's about, okay? It's all about personal feuds because Chris Christie wanted a job from Trump and all that stuff, and then he got snubbed in the end, and so it was like, you know, I don't like Trump. But Mitt Romney, same exact thing. You know, people forget this about Mitt Romney. You know, Mitt Romney goes out there and he postures about how I'm for honesty and integrity and I'm standing for principle over party and all this nonsense, okay? That's not the reason why Mitt Romney is such an anti-Trump rhino. It's because in 2017, he wanted to be the Secretary of State. People forget this. He met with Donald Trump, wanted to be the Secretary of State. Trump told him no, and then he's all of a sudden like, well, you know, Trump is bad for democracy. Oh, yeah, what a coincidence, right, folks? What a coincidence. So that's what's so funny, is that Chris Christie, a slob like this, will roll around like Diabito and say, Mom, but in between him saying, Mama, can I have cookie? No, Diabito, roll back to kitchen. Oh, in between that, you know, when he's not doing that, he will go out there and say, you know, Donald Trump has an ego, and Donald Trump puts himself over his party and his country, and it's all about him. This guy's the biggest narcissist on the planet, right? Because he can't put aside in none of these people. Mitt Romney, Mike Pence, who claims to be he's doing this for Christian whatever. Mitt Romney, Mike Pence, Chris Christie, all these characters. It all comes down to they have personal vengeance against Trump, and they can't put the party or the country above themselves. That's always what it is. All these people love Donald Trump until Trump decides you're fired. And then all of a sudden what happens? I'm rolling my way to the White House, Chris Christie. Jan 6, right? Yeah, because that's what he cares about. Sure.
I want everyone to think about this. When the Republican candidates for president get on the stage this Wednesday, August 23rd, the front runner who has decided not to be there
no, he's storing
will
corn
be
nuts.
out on bail.
True.
In 4 different jurisdictions: New York, Miami, Washington, and Atlanta. We can no longer pretend that this is normal. We can't pretend that this is acceptable. And all of us.
So let's return to 2012, right? That's what because the GOP of 2012 was just so powerful, guys.
Americans need to think, is this the example we want to set for our children and for our grandchildren? I say it's not. Wow. And I say that telling the truth is what matters the most in this race. That's what I intend to do from the minute I got into the race until whenever it ends. And if you look at the way things are going right now, I really think that this message is getting through to folks. We had a new poll that came out today in the state of New Hampshire, which now shows me clearly in second place, in double digits at 14%, and now only 20 points behind Donald Trump. We are in striking distance, everybody, 2.5 months into this campaign.
Well, we're in striking distance. Is that what you're in? Yeah, well, everyone's so scared of Christie, right, guys? Okay. Yeah. Although I do have to say, I think he does have a point, which is I think he's polling like close to DeSantis in New Hampshire or something, which is just, it's not good for DeSantis. But, everyone always says, not everyone, but it's weird because the Christie cult always says, wow, Christie's so articulate and he's so powerful and people are scared of him because he's a visionary and a good speaker. Chat, do you see a good speaker? Are you like blown away? Wow, Chris. All I hear is dated Lincoln Project talking points brought to the table by a slob who's literally out of breath because he's out of breath because for reasons you know why. Like he can't even speak. Okay? I don't understand what about Christie people say is so powerful or visionary. Guys, he's so articulate. Is he? He reminds me of like a 10th grade history teacher who doesn't want to Bueller. That's him. That's literally, can you imagine him behind the chalkboard? Bueller. That's literally him. Okay, but I don't know why. The cult of Christie always says this guy is just such a fantastic, visionary, articulate speaker. I don't get it. The guy's a joke. The guy has always been a meme in politics. Like everyone's always just made fun of the guy, and that's even more so true now. But I don't know. I guess we're all scared of Christie, guys. That's what Trump fears. That's what DeSantis fears. That's what Vivek fears. Everyone fears Christie. Okay, because he's gonna 5-star frog splash. Just everyone, I guess.
On Wednesday night, we intend to do the same thing. Listen to the questions, answer them directly and honestly. And if someone were to say something on stage that we think is wrong, untruthful, or just bad for our country,
or obese,
to be able to engage in that debate directly and clearly to lay out what I believe is the right direction.
This guy's so arrogant. He thinks he's all that.
So I thank you all for taking the time tonight. I hope we get into a lot of different issues that you're concerned about. I'm going to try to follow the same standard tonight on our town hall meeting that I follow at my town hall meetings around the country, and that I intend to follow on the debate stage Wednesday night. Listen clearly to your questions and try to answer them honestly and directly and responsively.
All right, we're not going to tune into this whole thing, but I do want to see him talk to Adam Kinzinger. Okay, folks?
There's a real kinship, I think, between what we've been through and the threat we see, and the fact that we know that America just needs a dose of truth. I mean, look, how can you expect the front runner to not be Donald Trump when anytime anything happens, everybody else that the base, that the party looks up to, is told by their leaders that he did nothing wrong and that he's a victim of a witch hunt. And then they're surprised that somehow he's in first place in these debates. And so it's so refreshing to have somebody that tells the truth. And it's so refreshing that you're with us today, Governor. I just wanted to say that. And so it seems to me that the GOP primary is kind of really a referendum on Donald Trump. And one of the things with Country First is there are people, some would consider themselves from the left, some from the right, some from the middle. Some probably have no idea what they are anymore. But the one thing we all have in common and we all see eye to eye on is that Donald Trump is a threat to this
boring
country. Another term
Trump. Donald Trump.
14 tells you that I think the truth does matter and that people do want to hear the truth about Donald.
All right, I think we get the point. He's so boring, dude. He's just guys, Chris Christie is such a powerful speaker. He's so presidential. Literally, if you read his live chat, like all three people they're just all sitting there like in a metaphorical circle, you know, just Chris Christie, he's so smart. He's so the guy. All the guy does is bring up the same never Trump talking points from 2015, which is not visionary, you know, and just talks like the Lincoln Project. But guys, everyone's scared of Chris Christie. Donald Trump won't show up to the debate because of they're just scared of Chris Christie. Doesn't everyone know this? Okay. Real Text and Politics for $5 says, who do you think Christie and Kinzinger will vote for next year? Biden or no labels? Thank you for the $5. I think it's going to be Biden. I really realistically, I think he's just going to end up voting for Biden. So, you know, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think, but I think he's just going to vote for Biden. Because why wouldn't he, right? Who's even going to run for the no labels party? Like Adam Kinzinger for sure, because Adam Kinzinger is just a Democrat shill, you know? They need people like that. Anna Navarro, same thing, who say, oh, I'm a Republican who's just how Anna Navarro says it. I'm a Republican who just is affected with Trump. No, but then they just shill the Democrats all the time. Okay, so Adam Kinzinger is a Democrat, like 100%. So he's definitely going to vote for Biden. Chris Christie, maybe it's a little bit more nuanced, but if you're, you know, considering there's probably not going to be a prominent third party, unless he himself decides to run third party, which I could see happening. I could genuinely see Chris Christie himself trying to run and spoil Trump. But if he doesn't choose to do that, then yeah, it'll definitely be for Biden. For sure, because, you know, Chris. Okay. All right, are we live, chat? Are we still? Let me see. Okay. All right. We're back. I did warn you guys in the beginning, but yeah, the internet did what it has been doing, which is cut out. I don't know what happened, but I think we're back. Okay. Now I'm thankful at least it didn't happen during the main show. Okay. At least we're towards the end. Super Chats just hanging out. So you know, I can't complain too much. Really can't complain too much because. My big fear was it was gonna mess with the beginning of the show, and it didn't. So we're back though. We're back. Yeah, Chris Christie tried to eat the stream. That's literally what happened. Okay, Chris Christie tried to eat the stream, and we had to fight him off. Okay, we had to fend him off. I was like, no diabito, roll back to kitchen. Because first I was like, no diabito, and he wouldn't stop. So I had to get aggressive with him. All right, I had to put a hog in his place. All right, I had to roll a certain diabito back to kitchen. Okay, so but yeah, we are back, and it is 9:19. So we'll go for like 10 to 15 minutes here. So we are now in our super chat Q&A portion fully. Okay, hopefully Chris Christie does not eat the stream again. We're now open for Q&A and reading chat. So any questions, comments, anything you want to send in, and again, all proceeds right now are going to fund our trip to the GOP debate. Feel free to do so via these super chats. We're now open for the super chats, and I'll be reading them now. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at our super chats before Chris Christie tries to eat the stream once again. Real Text and Politics for $5 says, speaking of no labels, Larry Hogan looks to be running for president under the no labels ticket. Okay, well, who's gonna vote for Larry Hogan realistically on either side? Because I don't think Republicans really like him en masse, you know. Chris Christie, at least there's some Republican out there I could see voting. Who's going to vote for Larry Hogan? I don't even know. But, you know, there's that. And then, do Democrats like Larry Hogan? I feel like no one outside of Maryland even knows who he is. So, I don't know if that's going to make a difference in the race either way. But thank you for the $5. Real Text and Politics. I appreciate that very much. All right, let's get caught up here on our other super chats. Noah Boydie for $2 says, Chris Christie sat on your router. This is, in fact, the problem that's been wrong with our internet all weekend, in fact, is that I think Chris Christie's been messing with the wires, okay? He's been eating the cables, all right? Someone needs to stop this man. Christie be like, I'm a conservative. Oh yeah, then why don't you conserve weight? Why don't you conserve food? But no, he has to go so far as to eating my router, because that's how much of a gluttonous dirtbag he is. Truly. Very true. Very true. And so this is real. Look at Christie on my screen. Look at him just sitting there. All right. He's just staring at me. Now he's just staring at me. It's very real. All right, anyways, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on here to our other super chats. Christopher for $5 says, there are many Christian heresies to the point where I think we should bring back the Inquisitions. The Inquisitions are unfairly demonized. Your thoughts? Truthfully, Christopher, I don't really know a lot about the Inquisitions. I don't know about a lot of the, specific details there. I think before we bring back an Inquisition in terms of heresy within Christianity, we need a cultural Inquisition. Obviously, we need to stop blatant Satanism in our culture before we can address like Christian heresy. But I don't know. I mean, overall, like I said, I don't know much about the Inquisitions, to tell you the truth, so I don't have much of a comment on them overall. But yeah, it is true. There are many heresies today, and this is very real. Jameson B says, I can see Vince Dow running for president at some point. Jameson B, realistically, it's not in the cards for me, but I suppose every presidential candidate says that, so who knows. But I really have no intention of ever running for president or being president. It's just not really the life I want for myself, I like where I am right now in terms of the media, and that's really what I want to do and what I want to be in. Politics, to tell you the truth, because I don't consider myself to work in politics. I always say I work in media. Politics itself is a crappy field, and I don't know if I want to deal with it. And I think in many ways in America, it's so lame because just of all like the petty stuff that goes on, everyone is fake and you have this veneer of democracy or whatever when it's obviously not. And I don't know. I don't know, to tell you the truth. But who knows? Because every presidential candidate says they hate politics and never wants to run, and then they run. So who knows? But I don't know. It's not what I planned for my life. That's definitely the case. It's not what I planned for my life. But who knows? Who knows? We will see. Brian E says, "Hey Vince, today was my first day of college." Well, congratulations. You survived, Brian E. How was it? Did you get indoctrinated yet? Are you a BLM Ukraine libtard yet? Who knows? John A says, why would Trump throw himself into it a second time? Logically, why after everything? Well, because I think some men are meant to fight, but some men are meant to be warriors. Some men are supposed to go down swinging till the very end, and I think someone like that's what he's done his whole life, and that's how he's gonna finish the story. Everyone says that, oh well, why doesn't Trump just drop out and all these charges will get dropped and all this stuff, and why go through it all again? Look at what they're doing to your family. Some people just got to do it. Some people can't live with themselves if they don't. That's their life purpose, is to be at war, to be warriors. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. And I guess for me, I mean, I'm sort of mixed on that. Like, I'm not fully even like that myself, because part of the reason why I don't want to be a politician is because I want to actually see my kids and raise my kids, and to me that's more important than, oh, I'm gonna go save the country. No, you're not. You're gonna get stifled by the administrative state and nothing's gonna happen, realistically. So that I don't know, that's me personally. I in a way, I kind of want to be in the level where I'm prominent, but I'm not the most prominent guy, because the top guy also takes all the bullets, you know what I mean? I kind of want to be, I think in the natural hierarchy of things, you want to be here where you do well for yourself, but at the very top, you take the most heat, right? So I truthfully, I don't know if that's the life I want for myself, but some people are meant to do that, Some people are meant to lead armies and nations and businesses and things, and I think that's how it goes. I think that's how it goes. But anyways, let's see here. Real Texan Politics for $5. Thank you very much. Real Texan Politics says, If you don't support invading Russia and nuking Moscow, you're a pro-Putin traitor to democracy. Adam Kinzinger. This is literally him, okay? People are going to say that's a fake quote. It does accurately sum up his position. So how fake is it as a quote? I don't really know. So, yeah, but it is true. Thank you for the $5. Real Text and Politics. And it is, of course, ironic and hilarious. And honestly quite telling that Adam Kinzinger, founder of Country First, has a Ukraine flag in his bio. I think still to this day. So this is very real. This is very real, you know? Jennifer says we need more men fighting for lost causes. Throwing in the towel when stuff gets hard isn't a masculine trait. Well, I understand that, but I also think that like what I do here is what is meant for me. You know what I mean? I think people should do what they're best at and what ultimately contributes the way they contribute. I don't think I'd be a good politician. I don't think I have the politician traits to do it successfully, you know? I think that my role is as a voice. I think I'm a good speaker. I think, you know, I'm a better ideologue and commentator than I am a politician. And, you know, that's just where I see my role, and maybe things change. But I would also say that I think people undervalue the importance of commentators, you know? Tucker Carlson, as much as people want him to run for president, and I would like to see him do that too, Tucker Carlson, despite never touching political office, has been monumentally impactful to the culture and to the country, and to conservatism, and he does influence politicians, you know? Ron Paul, well, I guess Ron Paul was a congressman, so that's probably not a great example. But, you know, Pat Buchanan, same thing, where he came from the media. He ran for president a few times, but he ultimately is a pundit, you know. And there are many examples of this. So, you know, what I would say is that it's just not what I want to do. It's just not what I want to do. And it's not me running from it, because it's never appealed to me. If it was something that appealed to me and I was scared, then yeah. But being a politician has never appealed to me, you know? Which I guess is weird, because I feel like every political person, activist or whatever, it has never, I kid you not, it's never once in my life been something I've wanted to do, you know? I've always wanted to do this, you know, be the guy on the camera who spreads ideas and spreads a message, and hopefully someone else who's good at the political side of things does it. You know what I mean? So that's the way I feel about it. Rowley Gonzalez for $2 says, shout out Brandon Herrera running for Congress in Texas. This is real. Shout out Brandon Herrera. We wish him the best of luck. You know, I guarantee you the neocons in Texas are going to try to stifle his campaign, as they did many people in 2022. You know, Robbie Starbuck, Anthony Sabatini, a lot of people like that. So here's us all praying that he overcomes the forces that be, because I guarantee you they're going to try to stop him. But this is real. Shout out Brandon Herrera. Everyone go support him for sure. You know, it may not be Tucker's thing at all. It takes all parts to make a body. Yeah, that's true. But that's the thing, is that I think everyone, you know, we talk about hierarchy, right? Certain people are better at certain things. Some people are good generals. Some people are good infantrymen. Some people are good cavalry, right? Whatever analogies you want to make. I don't think my role in all of this is to be the president. I don't, you know? I don't know. You want to say that's humility, or that I'm just scared, or whatever you want to say about it. I just never seen that as being my role in all of this, you know? And that's why, like I said, I do want Tucker Carlson to run for president, truthfully, selfishly. But I understand why he doesn't want to. Because I relate to it too. It's like, no, this is my thing. This is my role in this. And, you know, I think frankly, the movement and conservatism and just the world in general needs a lot more people who recognize their role. You know what I mean? Because I think that's part of the problem with a lot of stuff, is every really guy and girl these days wants to be the top dog. You know, they want to be the president or the CEO or whatever it is, and most of them never make it because they're not cut out for it, right? But at the same time, a lot of the necessary stuff that needs to be done is getting forgotten, because everyone wants to be top dog, and everyone fights each other and wants to kill each other for it, and it's an episode of Succession. And, you know, no one looks at stuff like, okay, well, someone has to be the chief of staff, someone has to be the press secretary, someone has to be, secretary of, this, but everyone wants to be the president. And that's an analogy I'm making because it's not just at the White House, it's a problem in all of the world in general, is that, and so that's what I try to avoid. That's why I don't think I'm meant to be president or congressman or senator or whatever. Maybe when I'm older I run for state rep and do that part-time while this, but that's probably the most I would do, because I just don't think it's what I'm meant to do. You know what I mean? I don't think it's what I'm good at. I don't really think it's my thing, because if I wanted to run for office, I would be handling my life way differently than I am right now. I'd be making a lot more connections in the political world than the media world. I would I'd probably be a little bit less critical of the GOP, to tell you the truth, because you need endorsements, you need all that stuff, but I don't do that because it's not what I want to do, right? So it's just, I don't know. It's just I've never wanted to do it. I've never wanted it to be my thing. I don't want to be a politician. Maybe a ruler, a king, not a politician. John Doyle Roughly. Well, this is another point, which is I just feel like politics in America is so lame to me. It's like, because the thing is, everything that you would think is cool about being a politician, you're not allowed to do in America, because you got to have this fake veneer of, oh, let me all wear a suit and tie and pretend like I'm a real Christian family man, even though they're all like, having orgies and cocaine and all that stuff, but everyone sits there and pretends like they're so high and mighty, and you got to play this like fake optics game, and you can't be it just sucks. I don't know. American politics does not appeal to me in terms of something I want to work in. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, it kind of annoys me in many ways, It takes all the parts to make a body. Yeah, exactly. So this is true. The world is subdued, limited, restricted, inauthentic, and plastic. It's so real. Because let's be real, all of our politicians basically are mafia bosses, okay? But they pretend like they're not. Oh, here's me holding a baby. I can't stand that. I wish they would just admit it, I'd have more respect. I'd have more respect for Dark Brandon if he stopped pretending, I like ice cream, If he was just like, yeah, I'm a communist dictator, what are you going to do about it? Okay? At the very least, I would be like, yeah, you're right, Joe, what am I going to do about it? But instead, we all play this fake game of like, morality when none of the politicians have it, and we all gonna pretend like we're humble, even though they're all the most narcissistic, egotistical. It's all fake. You're so right. Politics is plastic and fake in America. It's like, where's the warrior kings? I'd rather be ruled by a literal mafia boss than the people today who pretend like they're not. Because at least mafia bosses are cool. Okay, they smoke cigars and they tote guns. And our politicians are no better than them, but you know what I mean? But they pretend like, no, I'm just like you. Yeah, guys. Joe Biden grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, just like you. Yeah, he's been in office 50 years, really. But it's annoying because that's what people like for some reason in American democracy. They want to hear that and see that. And it annoys me. It annoys me, And this is why some people ask Vince, why don't you always fall for personal morality arguments? Well, the reason I always bring that up is because they say this when they say, how can you defend a guy? Because remember, like a year ago, I said, everyone overreacting to the Madison Cawthorn video. Don't you understand it's an op because they want to get him out of office because he called out corruption in D.C.? And people were like, no, Vince, you don't get it. As a Christian, how can you support that guy in that video? To which I say, it's like, okay, listen. Let me let you in on a little secret here, okay? Everyone in D.C. is immoral. Not everyone, but most people, okay? When Kevin McCarthy releasing this dirt on Madison Cawthorn, you don't think Kevin McCarthy has dirt on him, okay? I've heard far worse things about Kevin McCarthy, okay? And Lindsey Graham and all the establishment GOP people. Why do you think scandals, quote unquote, leak to the press on people like Madison Cawthorn or Matt Gaetz or Donald Trump or whoever it is, okay? It's not because the establishment politicians have clean personal lives. Newsflash to you people. It's because they're speaking truth to power, Okay, and so what does the power do? They use weaponized virtue. They don't even have virtue, but they'll weaponize it against other people, right? And so this is why I don't buy into this whole tabloid gossip culture of politics where it's like, this person's scandal, so-and-so's having an affair with so-and-so. It's like they're all having affairs. You know, it's like, it's truth. It's true. They're doing the same thing right now in Texas with Ken Paxton, okay? So Ken Paxton, if you're familiar, one of the best AGs this country has, okay? One of the best leaders in this country, okay? The Texas Speaker of the House, if you're familiar, GOP, but he's a complete rhino. He's a neocon. He sucks. He absolutely sucks, okay? So he's trying to spread a scandal right now that Ken Paxton is having an affair with a secretary or something like that, okay? To which I say this. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. But at the end of the day, it's tabloid gossip, okay? You're not going to weaponize Christian morality against me when all you're doing is participating in gossip. It's bogus. Like, I don't care, frankly. I don't care. But they sit here and pretend, you're having an affair? Oh my gosh, a politician's having an affair? I've never heard of this before. And like I said, it's always weaponized virtue. Because why do you only hear about the affairs of the more right-wing politicians? Really? You don't think the Texas Speaker of the House is a scumbag? The guy's a total scumbag, okay? You know? But why does this story leak to the press and not? Well, if you're truly thinking critically about it, you think to yourself, you know, maybe the reason why this news about Ken Paxton's affair is leaking is because the establishment wants to get rid of him. Maybe the reason that Madison Cawthorn video leaked is because the establishment wants to get rid of him. But like I said, in America, we have this stupid, bogus, tabloid gossip culture around politics where we pretend like everyone in office is so moral and high and mighty, and then the moment that they weaponize virtue against someone they don't like, we're all expected to just go along with it. It's nonsense. Like, that's why I don't buy it. I don't buy it. You know, and frankly, to a degree, I'll be honest, I really don't care. I really don't care, right? I should be voting for this is the argument they make. I should be voting for a liberal Democrat over a Republican because the liberal Democrat publicly, according to the media, is not having an affair and the Republican did. Because first of all, like I said, it's tabloid gossip. It's bogus. Like I said, there's probably a reason the scandal is leaking. But even if it were true, I would still say, you know, when you vote for a politician, are you voting for like the leader of the babysitter of your kids or the pastor of your church, or are you voting for someone who's going to enact policies that do good for the country, right? Ken Paxton is doing a lot of good stuff for the state of Texas. He's one of the only few politicians in that state who's trying to stop the invasion at the border, while everyone else in Texas politics allows it while claiming themselves to be a Republican. So it's like, do I care more that Ken Paxton allegedly is having an affair, or should I care more about the net good that his policies are doing for the entire country, right? This is what American politics is. We pretend like it's not like that, and we pretend like everyone is so moral when they're not, and then we weaponize virtue, and it's bogus, and I hate it. Like you said earlier, whoever said it, it's all plastic and fake. It literally is. It's all plastic and fake. Because, you know, we weaponize virtue and everyone pretends like they're good, regular people when none of them are, but we weaponize virtue against the people we don't like. It's bogus. It sucks. It's annoying. You know? It's like ridiculous. But people don't get this. And, you know, it's the same thing. I'll be honest. It's the same thing with Ron DeSantis, okay? Because a lot of people say, you hear the DeSantis shills, they all say, Ron DeSantis is a real family man, and he's such a good person, and I care so much about personal character. It's like, okay, first of all, let me just say this. You know, it's all tabloid gossip at the end of the day. But if you're going to use tabloid gossip, then I can use my tabloid gossip and tell you that, you know, I don't work so much in local politics anymore. But when I first got here the first year or so, I was pretty involved in state politics, and I worked for a PAC and all this stuff, okay? I will tell you, everyone who's personally had to work with Ron DeSantis tells you that he's impersonable. He's a dirtbag. He's an a-hole. He's incredibly rude to people. He has no respect for anyone. There's no respect for his staff. He's a total narcissist. He's a crappy person to work with. Now, you may look at that and say, well, Vince, that's tabloid gossip. Maybe the people who told you that in Florida politics are just hearing that. To which I say, yeah, actually, you're right. You're right that it's tabloid gossip. But that's exactly why I say you cannot use personal morality as really an argument when you vote on politics. You really can't, okay? Don't get me wrong. If someone's involved in serious criminal enterprise, obviously, then that disqualifies them from office. But this whole argument, you cannot discern how Ron DeSantis is as a person. You don't know him. You've never met him, but you can discern that has personal morality. You can just, because they put on a good face as a politician and they have no notable scandals that we've heard about yet. I hate this stupid feedback loop where we pretend like to take tabloid gossip seriously in politics, That's why I say, how can you be a Christian and support Donald Trump? Oh, so you should be a Christian and support Biden, Hillary Clinton, John McCain, Mitt Romney? Oh, because I haven't heard about their personal immorality. It means they're personally moral. Of course not. Of course not. They report on the scandals and vices and, proclivities of certain people because they don't like them, okay? Because they don't like them. And anyone who truly understands how politics works in our country understands that. But, the midwits, frankly, it's like middle IQ. The midwits will look at us and tell us, no, Vince, you just don't care about personal morality in politics. It's like, yes, ideally would I like all of our politicians to be moral people? Of course I would. But you cannot discern if someone is moral or not just based on how good their photo ops are, okay? Or how good they speak on camera, or how much the media has reported scandals on them. You cannot use tabloid gossip as a basis to decide which politician is personally moral and not, okay? And even then, I would say overall, what's more important? Their personal morality or America's overall morality, right? I think at the end of the day, that's what really matters, okay? You can say Donald Trump is disqualified from office because, he got divorced and that's not Christian. Okay, fine. But he overturned Roe v. Wade, so what do you want, right? I look at it and say, let's balance this out. Personal immorality, which like I said is kind of subjective, hard to discern, comparable to other people, whatever, versus this much net good for the country. Well, I'm not voting on a pastor of my church or a babysitter of my kids. Like I said, it's a politician for the country, so I'm going to take the net good every single time. You can call that Machiavellian or sociopathic, but I think it's just logical. If you really view politics through a lens that's not silly and fake, you'd realize that. You realize they're all kind of scumbags, so which scumbags are going to do better for us overall and which are going to do worse? That's the truth. That's the truth of our politics. But people don't want to acknowledge that, which is why they weaponize virtue and say, I don't know, MTG is getting divorced. Okay? And she's the only politician to get divorced. Lauren Boebert's getting divorced. Madison Cawthorn has that video. Okay, and Kevin McCarthy doesn't do stuff like that. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It really is, I didn't ask to be given this American democracy that we have, but we have it. And it's not perfect, okay? So what are you going to do about it? Right? We're stuck with a two-party system. So what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Because I'm thinking big picture, not thinking impulsively or irrationally. I'm thinking very rationally, hey, I may not like this person as a person, but overall they're going to do good for the country, so it's all good, right? It's better. It's a better alternative than letting the liberal who wants to kill all the babies and trans the kids win, But some people just don't have the mentality to truly comprehend the nuances of politics like that. So they'll just say, I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, Andrew M. says, as scripture says, there is no one that is righteous, not one. Let's stop pretending we only vote for saints in the Congress. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Exactly. Don't get me wrong, okay? People take this the wrong way. I would ideally like for every politician to be a decent Christian family man, okay? But it's and Christie ate the internet again, okay? So, like I said, luckily we are wrapping up the stream, but we'll do last call for super chats, okay? I'll end the stream here at about 9:50. But yeah, just to wrap up on that thought, okay? Like I said, it's controversial with people. Some people don't get it, frankly, I mean, to tell you the truth, very often it's a hard thing to explain to women sometimes. But I think, like, politics is an end-sum game, truthfully, okay? You know, there's... And I think if we're going to truly... If you truly want to be involved in it, you kind of need to understand that an aspect of it is going to be dirty, right? And so that's why I don't like all this weaponized virtue. It's just a reason I can't stand American politics, because it's like, you know, this person is more moral than that person. In most cases, it's actually the opposite. All right. All right. It's a good thing we're about to end the stream anyway. But truly, folks, you know, the establishment is scared of this stream because they don't want me to make this point. Because I'm making a very important point. So that way, when people go to vote on the ballot box, they don't fall for this whole weaponized virtue line and really think overall, in a rational sense, what is better for the country, right? So the example I was making when we got cut off was like J.R. Majewski in Ohio. It was a congressional race, an obscure congressional race if you're not familiar, but it happened in 2022, where this guy was a very solid candidate, a very solid conservative. But they brought some scandal, which I believe was fake, by the way. So it's, like I said, tabloid gossip. But they brought some supposed scandal about how he lied about his service in Afghanistan, which actually, I think when you look into it, is not really true. But regardless, he lied about his service. He's a charlatan. We can't vote for him. And what ended up happening, again, this guy was very conservative. He's very solid on the issues, okay? He ended up losing to the Democrat because the GOP wouldn't vote for him, and the Democrats just scandalized him into losing. And what do we have now? Personal morality, people. What do we have now? You, because you fell for tabloid gossip, which is what you did. Don't pretend like, oh, I was making a moral conscious decision. No, you are not. You are a dumb person who fell for tabloid gossip. Now we have a Democrat in that seat. We have a liberal Democrat who supports all the evil stuff that's destroying this country over a person who would have voted for all the good stuff because I fell for tabloid gossip about this guy's fake military service, which actually, when it came out, in the end, that story wasn't even true. So that's kind of my point. That's kind of my point about this, like, you know, I don't know, personal morality line. I think it's a genuinely important thing people need to understand. Frankly, I forgot how we even got to this point in the discussion, but I did want to wrap up the stream by, you know, explaining that. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to wrap it up here, most likely. Let me check. Last call for Super Chats. Anything on Rumble or anything? I don't think we did. Let me check for Super Chats one last time, and if we're all wrapped up, I'm just going to end the stream before Christie eats the internet again. And hopefully, like I said, this is going to be the last stream until at least Thursday, maybe till Friday, okay? Because we're going to the GOP debate tomorrow. So, you know, we'll see you returning to streaming again Thursday or Friday. And wish me luck. Wish me luck. Let's hope we get some good content there. Hopefully it's not a total disappointment. But, yeah. All right, folks, before you go, be sure to leave a like right now on the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're watching randomly, and consider supporting the channel membership at the link in the description. And until next time, folks, Alpha moves only. God bless. Everyone have a very good night, and peace. By the way, Christie, stop eating my internet, okay? There will be video content, by the way. I forgot to mention that. So we won't be streaming, but there'll be plenty of videos. So stay tuned for that, okay? Like the videos, comment on the videos, subscribe to the channel. This is true. All right, good night, guys. See you in Milwaukee on Wednesday. All right.